All right, guys, welcome back to the Caffeine and Octane Podcast. I'm Grant Van Brewer, and I've got a very special guest here today, Justin Norton from Atlanta Custom Wraps.
Thank you.
What's up, man?
Absolutely honored to be here, Grant.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. And
miss it.
We've got a serious car that's gone through some serious evolution that we'll get into a little bit later that you brought here today. Before we get into that, let's start with the business and kind of, how all this happened, right? Take us back to the beginning. How did Atlanta Custom Wraps even start?
Man, I guess it really started in my garage, Grant. I was doing a lot of street racing, and a buddy of mine introduced me to Future Hendricks, and he had a handful of cars and tossed me one to wrap, and we got done, and he was so impressed. He's like, yeah, follow me to the house, get another one, and keep doing that until you're done. And so I had so many cars in my driveway that the HOA was like, yeah, you can't run a business out of your house, so you need to go. And
so Future was one of your first big
Future
clients?
was my first client on the books.
That's amazing. Future was one of my first celebrity clients back when I was selling, McLarens and
That's
Lamborghinis.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's wild.
And we still work together today.
That's amazing. So
he's been great.
in the garage, in the driveway, HOAs knocking at your door,
Yeah.
sending you letters.
Absolutely.
And then the next evolution was, I got to get a shop, basically.
Yeah, and honestly, Grant, at that time, Danielle and I were broke, not broke, but we were broke. And I couldn't afford a shop, but I had this opportunity, and I really enjoyed it. I was passionate about it.
Yeah.
I found my little niche of how I could do better than what other people were doing at the time. And so I basically bet it all. And I went and found a shop that I could rent month to month. And to be honest, I remember the first check I wrote to my distributor, the money wasn't in the account to clear the check. I had to get the car done and get the money in the bank before the distributor deposited the check, and I did. And then we just kept putting it back into the business.
Yeah.
Danielle and I were like, okay, this is it. This is what we want to do, and we ran with it.
Wow.
And here we are 14 years later.
14 years.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask you how long it's been going. 14 years. That's amazing, man.
14 years.
What a ride. What was the first project where you realized this could become something serious other than Future? I mean, I know that was kind of the start where you're like, this is something, but what really nailed where you're like, hey, this is our next level?
I think it was 2015, and I had just bought the new Z06. It had just came. The C7 Z06 had just came out. I bought the car, made a couple little videos that I didn't think anyone would ever see, and the next thing I know, Course of Performance and Pro Charger and quite a few companies had reached out to me, and they're like, hey, we want you to build this car for SEMA.
Wow.
And I looked at Danielle, and I'm like, I'm blown away. Like this is a dream come true.
Got to do it. Yeah.
We're going to SEMA, and we're going with Pro Charger and NX and Course of Performance, and and we're in Center Hall.
That's amazing.
So it was. I think that was the moment where it was like, this is real.
Yeah.
And this could be big, and this is my one shot.
Yeah.
So
at that point, you're like, hey, if this is going to be my lane, this is where we've really got to execute on it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we did, and the car was absolutely flawless. We won a few awards that year and got some recognition, and it just, honestly, Grant, I don't feel like it stopped since.
Yeah.
We've just been on this rocket ship, and it's just every year I'm like, it can't get any better, or what, I don't know what could be next, and and then somebody calls and something pops up, and it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's
What's the hardest phase of building the business for anybody out there that maybe is thinking about, maybe they're in their garage, they're in their driveway, they're on their 20th wrap, they don't have a shop yet. What's the challenge that person needs to realize moving forward that they could potentially run into?
Betrayal.
Okay.
Betrayal was the hardest thing for me to overcome. It's I'm in a great position now. My lead installer's been with me 10 years.
Wow. That's rare.
It is, and I've got another one that just hit his 5-year. but man, this is a cutthroat business. The car industry in itself seems to be a bit of a cutthroat business, whether you're selling cars or building them or wrapping them. It gets to a point where it's a very skilled trade, and once that person learns that skill, they tend to want to go try and do it on their own.
Right.
So building a team that's loyal and dedicated and all on the same trajectory with their passion was the most difficult part.
Yeah. So just like you reinvest into the business, I'm sure you're reinvesting into your employees. You don't want them to go anywhere else. You want them to still stay proud about who they're working for, what that brand means.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta all be on the same mission to build the same brand.
Well, I gotta bring this up because it's kind of your signature in the world of wraps. Meanwhile, I'm at Motor Cars of Atlanta. I'm selling, celebrities, mainly rappers, a lot of rappers.
To mostly my clients.
Young Dolph, Key Glock. So I'm sending these cars out. Meanwhile, you're wrapping them.
Yeah.
So, the camo thing has become this phenomenon, and I've seen it often replicated, never duplicated, rather. What did that do for your business? I'm sure that just shot everything to the roof.
Man, that was, 2018 was the most insane year for us. It all happened so fast with Netflix Fastest Car.
That's right.
We did that show with the McLaren, and it was released in 2018, and Dolph and I released the camo. And to be honest, the camo movement started right here at Caffeine and Octane. Most people don't know that.
Wow.
When Dolph was recording his major album and had me down to the studio. I'm listening to the music. We're kicking it, and we're trying to come up with an idea to wrap this fleet of cars. We knew we wanted to do the fleet, and he had said, "Look, Justin, here's these cars that these guys are doing in Dubai, and they're all gold chrome or whatever,
Yeah.
And he's like, so I want to do my fleet, but I want it to be something different than anyone else has ever done. And I'm listening to the music, and I'm like, we're going war. like we're going to war with your rivals. I get what this album is, and if we're going to go to war, let's just camo it. And
it hit.
I'm from here, so I'm, and I'm a little older, so I remember the old country boys that used to spray paint camo, and then it, that had went away. You hadn't seen that.
That's right. Yeah.
Years and years and years, and
big in the '90s,
that's
maybe
right.
early 2000s, and then it kind of faded.
80s and 80s and 90s, I think, and it was just people going hunting.
Yeah, right.
And they were spray painting stuff.
Their blazer or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I pitched the idea to Dolph, and he's like, yeah, maybe, here, take a G-Wagon and a Rolls Royce and go play, and bring them back to me, and I'll see what I think. And I did, and he was like, man, you killed it. You just made the patterns larger than life. It fits the car, and so then, the challenge was he wanted to make sure every car in his fleet was recognizable no matter where they were in the country, but no two cars were identical. And so from a design perspective, that's pretty hard to do. It's like, okay, you want them to all look the same, but none of them are the same, and you've got Demons and G-Wagons and Ferraris, and they all have different body lines, so how am I going to play off of this, and how do I make it work? And Dolph was very adamant about not wanting anyone to see any of these cars. So as a shop owner and I guess as a designer, I never thought of myself as a designer, but I designed the camo, and I was nervous, buddy. I was really nervous because I'm in my shop, and at that point he had me do probably 8 or 9 cars that no one had seen. Like, we would cover them up when we got them done. And in my head, I'm like, man, people are going to laugh at us. This isn't going to work. This is going to be horrible. And so I called Dolph one day, and I'm like, hey, man, there's this local car show that has really done a lot for me, and they have this huge crowd that comes out. It's all local stuff, but can I take your Ferrari and my Lambo? You cool with that to this little show? Yeah, man, I ain't worried about it. Cool. Let me know what it's. I'm like, all right. So we show up, and that was when Caffeine and Octane was at Perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And we pull in with the Lambo and the Ferrari, and it was cool just sitting back, watching people's reaction. And then Dolph calls me before the show's over, and he's like, bro, I thought you were taking them to a small car show. Why am I on the internet right now? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He sends me a link, and one of the photographers at Caffeine and Octane had posted the two cars, and it had over 1 million views before we left the show.
Wow.
So Dolph was pissed. He was like, man, I got a plan to release this, blah, 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 with the album and the fleet.
Yeah.
But honestly, that kind of, that got the traction started, in my opinion, and then there was this hype of like, oh, this rapper's got all these camo cars that are hidden, and then when we released Major, we showed the whole fleet.
Oh, yeah.
And that combination of our friendship and relationship and the momentum of the album and
it was iconic.
It was legendary,
Yeah.
and I don't know that it could ever be repeated.
Yeah. And how many Dolph Camo raps have you done now? Another number.
God, I think we're in the 600 total.
Wow, that's incredible.
So when Dolph passed, clearly him and I were super close, and I was close to everyone in the label. They're a family, and he had brought me into that family. So when it ended, or when he passed, I was done with camo. We're never going to camo anything ever again. And PRE came to me and they said, Justin, you can't. They're like, we want you got to continue this legacy. It's on you.
Wow.
So this part of it is your responsibility. And I said, okay, at this point, if this is what we're going to do, I'm going to number them. I'm going to put a signature on it and have permission from the label and everything to do that and use the copyright and trademark. But we started numbering them, and the number actually represents a donation that we've made to the Item A Foundation. So every single number represents a $1,000 donation.
That's amazing.
And we just hit 200.
Giving back to the community
So
there
that's
in Memphis.
$200,000 we've given back
amazing.
to Dolph's family.
And even here recently, I think you did did you guys do a chopper? You did a helicopter?
We did. We actually, just a few weeks ago, flew out to Texas. We've wrapped a helicopter. We've wrapped boats. The only thing I haven't wrapped in camo is a train.
Yeah.
So we've done bikes, boats, cars, you name it.
Speaking of wraps, what separates a high-level wrap from just like average work out there? You've seen it.
It's attention to detail, but also how deep you're willing to go. I think the industry's changed so much from where I started to where it is now, and what gave me an advantage in the beginning was I've always been a mechanic, a car guy. So when I first got into the industry, I would see these seams and cuts and things that I'm like, why didn't you just pull the door handle and the mirror and the headlights out of it? And I don't get it. I'm gonna pull the car apart, tuck everything in, put it back together, and it's gonna look painted. And that's what we did. And now it's almost become a standard, right? So
absolutely.
I hate to say that I set the standard, but
that's okay, man. Hey,
but I as humble as I am, I feel like we did that, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
We said I don't care if it's a Lamborghini or a Challenger, we're going to take it apart, wrap it, put it back together just like a factory
Treat it
would.
the same way,
And so that's what we do.
And what's the biggest misconception people have about vehicle wraps?
I think unfortunately the industry has become saturated with a lot of do-it-yourself people, and I hate to say that that's hurt the industry, but it certainly has. And so the wrap industry is still young and new and fresh in a sense, even though I've been doing it 14 years. We were one of the first to be color change focused, and now you've got so many people doing it out of their garage, they don't do it properly. They've never had any training, so it lifts and bubbles and looks bad. And then the person who doesn't know what a wrap is walks by it and they see that and they go, I'm never going to wrap my car.
Yeah.
But then they'll walk by ours and go, that's a nice paint job. I've heard it 3 times today. And
that's what you want to hear.
That's the best compliment ever, you know. So it's a great industry. I think it's a misconception that every wrap's going to fail or damage the vehicle. It really preserves what's there.
Really?
And when done correctly, it doesn't leave any glue or an adhesive and doesn't harm the vehicle. It's a protective layer.
Yeah, like how many years would a wrap like from your shop last? I guess, you know, when somebody comes and picks up their car, it's finished. I mean, what do you typically tell them?
That's like asking how long paint's going to last on a McLaren.
Okay.
So it really comes down to how the person takes care of it.
Yeah.
We've got wraps in our shop. Literally, I inherited some of Dolph's vehicles, and so I've got wraps that we put on in 2017.
Wow.
That are still on the cars.
Almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That still look like the day they rolled out of the showroom floor.
Yeah.
But we take care of them. They stay in a climate-controlled building.
Yeah.
They get washed every 2 weeks, regardless of if they need it.
Yeah.
And those wraps, you know, I think we'll get another few years out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So shifting gears a little bit, I mean, let's talk about the Caffeine and Octane impact a little bit. Do you remember the first time you attended Caffeine and Octane? When
Vividly.
was that? Okay.
Vividly.
Let's hear it.
You know, it was 2012, Windward Parkway.
Wow.
And honestly, again, you know, not because I'm just on this podcast, I really mean it. I've told Bruce over the years, I pulled up to Caffeine and Octane with a couple of buddies in C6 Corvettes, and was blown away at how he was able to bring an entire community together. So I grew up street racing. Chevy guys don't like Ford guys. Nobody likes Dodge guys. You know, and it's this battle. But on this particular Sunday, everyone got along.
Wow.
And so I went back the next month, and it was the same thing. You know, there was Corvette guys talking to Ford guys, and this whole community was brought together in a very organized manner.
Yeah.
In a very welcoming manner, and so I'll never forget that. And just watching it grow, and as a someone who was just getting into the business myself, and realizing that I wanted to build a brand and a company.
Yeah.
I saw Caffeine and Octane as this huge opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Huge opportunity.
I mean,
so back then, I would wrap my car a different color every month just for Caffeine and Octane.
That's amazing.
And I couldn't afford to be a vendor back then.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have that monthly, you know, money, and we were just trying to make it. But I could afford a roll of material, and I would spend a weekend before the show wrapping my car in a new color, and every month I would show up.
That's awesome.
With a new color, and eventually it just drew a bunch of attention.
Yeah.
And honestly helped propel our business.
Yeah. When did you decide to become a vendor or sponsor of Caffeine and Octane, and like, how has that impacted your business over the years?
Drastically. I don't remember exactly what year it was. I want to say 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce was doing Caffeine and Exotics.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a part of that so bad. I couldn't stand it. I didn't have a car for it. 2015 got my C7 Z06, and Bruce was nice enough to let me in. But I saw all these exotics, and I'm like, that's my client base. That's who I want to work with, and I've got to find a way in. And so, you know, again, I would do the same thing. I would change the color of the car. Cat Williams came into my life into 2015, and him and I had the same discussion. And he said, I'm going to follow you to the house. And I said, my house? And he's like, yeah, we're going to your house, and we're going to sit on the back deck and have a conversation. We did, and at the end of it, he hands me the keys to a 2015 Huracan 610-4, and he says, "Sir, the title is in the glove box. I expect you to be at every Caffeine and Exotics with a different color on this Lambo.
Wow.
The car belongs to you and Danielle. I want to see you grow."
Incredible.
And that was it, buddy. Like,
wow.
Our lives changed forever.
Yeah.
And it just, like I said, that rocket ship that just hasn't landed yet.
Yeah.
That was part of takeoff, I think.
So nothing but gaining altitude from then on out.
That's it.
That's
buddy.
amazing.
That's it.
Just from a vendor perspective, I mean, in your eyes, what makes Caffeine and Octane different from some of the other shows that are out there?
You know, Caffeine and Octane is special, because it's a monthly thing. You know, it's not a once a year show. It's a monthly event, but not only does it bring in people from outside our local community, it brings our local community together. So it's, to me, imperative to get your work out, right? Out of sight is out of mind.
Yep.
Caffeine and Octane provides a platform to display your talent, and there's nothing more powerful than putting your work on display and allowing the entire community to nitpick it.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, in the beginning, I would do that. I would sit back with no branding on and just kind of watch people's reaction and watch other installers and other companies try to find issues with my work. And those are the areas I would just go harder on the next month. And so Caffeine and Octane has produced consistency and reliability over a series of years.
Longevity,
Bruce has done something that, in my opinion, no one else has ever been able to do. They've certainly tried to duplicate it, and now I know they do it in several different cities and call it something else, right?
Yeah.
But Bruce really, in my opinion, laid the platform and built the brand. And,
without a doubt.
And has just done something incredible.
Yeah, 100%.
It's been amazing.
All right, so national exposure and industry insight. You've been on the Caffeine and Octane TV show. I think you had the Z06 and the Huracan there, as well as the Netflix fastest car, which is pretty amazing. Tell us a little bit about that.
All of it was just crazy, man. Like I said before, every year I seem to get a call that's just like, I can't believe this is real. And whether that was, you know, episode 1 of Caffeine and Octane or fastest car, it was very surreal to get those calls and those opportunities. And honestly, again, not to blow his whistle too much, but I credit Bruce and Caffeine and Octane for giving me that platform in the beginning that led into the Netflix opportunity, and that was amazing. You know, I got the McLaren brand spanking new. Like, no, it didn't have a mile on it. That's my car.
That's right. That was one of the first ones, because I was working as the McLaren brand manager at the time, and that was a launch edition. So each dealer got like 5, 6, or 7 of the same cars.
Yep.
And your name was in the hat for one of those cars. I remember that.
Yep. So you know, I absolutely love that car. And when Netflix reached out to me and told me about the show and did my first few interviews, I'm like, man, I want to be one of the built cars. And they're, you know, couldn't understand why. And I'm like, no. I've got these other cars and I'm more of a built car guy. I don't really fall in the supercar guy category. And after doing some interviews, they're like, you're exactly what we need for the supercar.
Perfect.
And we want you to run your McLaren. But the car had to be stock. And so they had all these built cars that were built to defeat a stock supercar, you know. And I read through the rule books. I couldn't change anything on the car. It had to be completely stock. But I called the producers and I'm like, hey man, I was out here doing donuts with Daily Driven Exotics. I need a new set of tires. Do I have to buy the same tires that were on the car? And they're like, buy any brand you want. It just has to be a DOT.
Would you put on 888s or something?
Hell no. I called Mickey Thompson and I'm send me a set of ET Streets.
Oh, that's hilarious.
For my McLaren. And they're like, sir, no one's done that. Like, and I'm like, okay, well, here's the wheel spec. Here's what I need.
Yep.
Mickey Thompson sends me some tires. We show up on a set of ET Streets.
That's hilarious.
And honestly, I needed every bit of it.
What did it run out there? Were you doing quarter mile?
Yeah, they didn't show us times, so I really don't know. It was on a completely no prep, runway.
Yeah.
And it was freezing cold the first episode. We did that, and
this is the stuff that nobody sees.
That's right. That's right. It was like
scenes.
30 degrees out that day, and I pulled up, and it's funny, as you see the supercar pulling up, everybody starts talking crap, and then I back in, and they're like, he's on Mickey Thompson's.
Surprise!
We got a 720 on slicks here. And honestly, it worked out. What an incredible adventure that was.
Not bad, man. The journey's the funnest part about this whole thing.
It really was.
Yeah.
And when we won the first episode, they said, okay, the finale's going to be in California. And I told my wife, I'm like, I think we're going to lose. Like, they're bringing out real drag cars.
Yeah.
These are no interior, just straight drag cars. And I think we're going to lose. But the producers were like, look, man, we got to ship your car to California, and then we'll ship it back. And I'm like, okay, cool. Do you care when you ship it back? Does it matter? And they're like, no, why? And I said, well, I'm going to spend a couple extra weeks out there.
Absolutely.
So you're paying to ship my McLaren to Cali.
Yep.
When we're done with this, I'm grabbing the wife, and I'm going up to PCH.
Oh, yeah.
I'll holler at you when the transport truck needs to pick it up.
Dude, I did the same thing. So towards the end of me working with that McLaren, I had my general manager had rented it was like a Mazda 3 or similar. I get out there, California, it's beautiful out there. I want to go down PCH. I'm like, hey, how much for a sports car? Rented a C7 Z06.
Yeah.
Best decision I ever made. It was the best $300 upcharge I've ever paid.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing, man. Some of the best roads out there.
We spent 2 weeks, man. We went through the Malibu canyons and just ripped all the way up to Big Sur. And
then this was all in the 720S.
It was.
Yeah.
And ironically, at the time, Grant, Danielle and I had set a mileage. So we were like, okay, we're going to lose on this car, but we can manage how much we lose. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, 2,000 miles, this car is getting sold. I can't afford it. And we hit 2,000 miles in California, and I looked at her and I said, you want to call the transport truck? And she said, hell no.
Having way too much fun.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're going to go to 3,000. And now we're at 73,000 miles, and you could.
That's incredible.
If McLaren called me today and said, we're going to give you a new one, but we want that one back.
Yeah, so much history with that car. So
It
original
really
owner, back when the car came out, 73,000+ miles now.
That's right.
I've seen the journey kind of all the way through on the car, the different wrap phases, and was actually at our good friend's shop, Derek Lee at Sector 32, former master McLaren technician who's helped you build this thing alongside of, I believe, Dane at Area 51 down in Florida. What are we working with now?
Those are actually, and I want to give credit there. Derek and I became great friends at Motor Cars.
Yeah.
I think we all met around that same time. Him and I really hit it off, and become great friends. I wouldn't own the car today if it wasn't for Derek.
Yeah.
He's been instrumental and incredible throughout the whole process. And but yeah, we've been through the journey. We started with, let's tune it, let's put exhaust on it, and again, I'm building up my bankroll as with the car. And owning it, and being terrified that I couldn't afford to lose it, and so it was terrifying, the whole process, right? Like, are we going to blow this thing up, and then what's that going to cost, and how's that going to work? And anyway, Derek and Dane and Mike have just been so incredible throughout the whole process. And,
Mike too. That's right.
And the amount that they put forth to learn. so much more than I would ever think. I've built cars my whole life, but these guys, like, they really enjoy learning everything.
Oh, they
and
know them
every
inside and
table.
out. Yeah.
And so, you know, we did all the basic stuff, and then for years we ran the car around with downpipes, exhaust, intake, you know, tune, etc., making 1,000 horsepower, and it was on race gas, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Still to this day, that car's never been outran on the street. I'm not saying it can't happen.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it hasn't happened.
I love it.
And so this last time, you know, I of course the car's been paid off, and we're on our second engine, and so Dane reached out to me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm building these custom engines. They're my spec. I want one in your car." And I called Derek and I'm like, you know, Derek's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And
Yeah.
Ironically, I had the car up at the tail of the Dragon where we spend a ton of time and do a bunch of runs, and I just broke the transmission, and so I called Derek and I'm like, "Car's coming home to you on a trailer, got a broken trans," and he's like, "We're putting the motor in it now. This is the time."
Yeah.
And so reached out to Dane, got everything done. I still can't tell you the specs on the engine. It's all proprietary stuff, but you can buy one at area51motorsports.com and sector 32. And so, you know, we get this motor in and we get this new trans in, and I swear, Grant, we just basically built this car from the ground up again. It's new, you know, I've blown the struts out of it. So like new dampeners, new struts, new brakes, new transmission, clutches, everything.
Second set of brakes?
Third
set of brakes.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've driven it.
I do a lot of track days.
Yeah.
in the Dragon. And so so we get it all built, and it's the best of everything, and we go and throw it on the dyno, and the car falls on its face at 6,000 RPMs. And I can't tell you the amount of stress and anxiety.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And these are my friends. So, you know, I think it's one thing if you don't know the people and you just send your car to a shop and you get it built, you expect a result, you know. But with this, we're in uncharted territory.
Right.
Where Derek's been developing his own proprietary fuel system for years and is ready. And Dane's, you know, been on building the engines and it's his stuff. So we're walking in uncharted territory, and we struggled with the car, and it's hard as friends because you want to be like, "Hey man,
fix it.
You got the best of everything.
Yeah.
Fix my car. I want it done."
Yeah.
And we kept going like back and forth. Derek, we got to a point where we just couldn't figure out the issue, and we were about to tear the motor apart. And I called Dane, and Dane's like, "Listen, man, I bet you anything and everything there's not a problem with that motor." And I'm like, "Okay."
He just knew in his heart.
I believe you, man. I know you put forth the effort, and I know you've done the research. So Derek, last minute, was like, "You know what? This sounds stupid, but I'm gonna swap the ECU out." And sure enough, there was some fluke in the ECU.
And that's like an old Honda trick.
That
you know?
it just, but we were like on the schedule for the next day to drop this engine and tear it apart. And he overnighted the ECU to M Engineering. They overnighted us, back. And
wow.
We put it in the car, put it on the dyno. It made a pull, and we both look at each other like, oh my God, we have a monster on our hands.
What kind of power are we making right now?
We're not going to say exactly.
Okay, all right. Is it 3 digits or 4 digits?
We'll say 1200 XXX.
Okay.
So, no, the car right now it's on E85R.
Yeah.
We put torque limitations on the car because it was just, we're in uncharted territory.
Yeah.
But it is over 1200 at the wheel, and still daily drivable.
That's awesome.
It's
I pass you all the time.
Yeah.
Every morning on the way to take my son to school or the gym, like, there's Justin again, still running.
That's it, man. And from the beginning of our friendship, Derek and I, you know, he promised me he would always build the car and maintain it and stay at the peak of innovation with it.
Yeah.
And I promised him I would keep it on the road and be the best driver possible. And I've done that we've both done our end, right?
Yeah,
Whether
absolutely.
it's drag racing and for Netflix Fastest Car, or trying to set an unofficial record at the Dragon, or set an official record at AMP. I've done my part, he's done his, and here we are 73,000 miles later with a car that's never been defeated in a drag race or a road race.
Still running.
And
it's perfect. Yeah.
I'd throw my wife the keys and let her drive it to California today without a worry in the world.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
That's awesome.
And I'll be buried in that car.
That's
like,
okay. Yeah, there you go.
You know, one way or another. I don't know if it'll be my tombstone or if I'll just, you know, what it'll be, but Danielle and I have discussed it, and as much as I love my new ZR1, there's nothing that compares to the 720 that we've built.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
The emotional connection and everything that we've been through, and how much it's helped grow our business, and it's one of those cars that's irreplaceable to me.
Yeah, well, the build looks awesome, man. Thanks for bringing it out.
Thank you.
Thanks for jumping on, and I'm sure this won't be the last we'll hear from you.
No, not at all.
Excited for
I hope
what's
you
next.
come by the shop and let me take you for a ride in that thing.
We'll do that. Yeah.
As a previous brand ambassador,
there you go.
I'd like to see your opinion on it. And,
I'm ready.
Maybe even let you take it for a little spin.
Okay, I'm down.
So,
Totally down.
Thank you.
Justin, thanks so much, man.
Thank you for having me on, Grant.
thank you, brother.
Bruce. Thank you, Caffeine and Octane.
Appreciate all you guys.
Absolute honor.
Yeah, we'll
So,
catch you on the next one. Thanks so much.
absolutely.